So last time I went to a flash band concert, it's just a little bit too bright for me. I mean, they just use too many lights and they just have the volume way too high. Anyways, I'm not gonna talk too much about the flash bands, but I am gonna talk about the spider bow because this is pretty exciting. Battlefield 3 we had obviously the crossbow, but now we're getting a compound bow, a legitimate bow in Battlefield. And I am pretty excited. So if you guys didn't already know, which you probably do, I'm an archer, so I actually have a compound bow myself, and so I thought I'd also give you guys a little bit of insight that maybe some other YouTubers and other people making videos out there might not know, because not everyone has fired compound bows or has a compound bow with them. So first of all, I thought I'd just show you guys some of the stats here. This is some leaked stuff that some Reddit users have been able to hack into the mainframe and obtain. This looks like Pixel Bob's battle log page. And what you can see is the bow does 100 damage. It has a pretty short range at 15 meters, and its accuracy is about 75. So it's pretty accurate, high damage, doesn't have a whole bunch of range. The only sights you got an iron sight, you've got a stabilizer, and you've got broadhead arrows, which is the only one that they've shown on this thing. But I have learned that there actually is a more long-range arrow, some sort of aerodynamic type thing, as well as the explosive head arrows. Of course, the aerodynamic ones, they can go a little bit farther, and the explosive arrows definitely do have a shorter range. So it seems like the compound bow is going to act in much the same way that the crossbow did in Battlefield 3. You're going to have long-range arrows that do less damage than the standard ones, the broadheads, and you're going to have them able to go at longer ranges, and then you're going to have the explosive bolt, which does more damage, more splash damage, can probably take out something like helicopters, I can imagine, jeeps. I'm assuming it'll only do maybe like 5 to 10 damage to a tank, so it's really meant for those light explosive encounters, and obviously will have a lot less range. Having a big explosive tip is not going to allow a arrow or a bolt to go very far. Now, in my opinion, there is one type of arrow that they're definitely missing. The green arrow boxing glove. It's the most cool arrow tip ever made, and it makes no sense, but it looks so cool. I'm so glad they did that in the the live action show Arrow. Great show, by the way. You guys should watch it. Great show. So how does this compound bow, all these stats and those attachments you saw, compared to say a real life compound bow? So first of all, let's look at the sights. Basically, it's got just iron sights. I'm kind of bummed because if you guys have played something like Far Cry 3, you know that you can get some pretty cool sights on bows. And actually, my compound bow has a red dot sight on it. So I'm hoping that DICE does end up following suit with Far Cry 3 and does end up putting one of those dank red dot sights on there. That'd be super sweet, and I think it would really mix well with the Battlefield UI and method of aiming down the sight. And I'm also hoping that they're going to put the bipod as well as the 40 times magnification scope on the bow, because we all know that would make an amazing weapon, and I think that would really make it just a super viable weapon to use, especially in close quarters. In terms of the attachment, the barrel, I say that with doing my fingers with bunny ears, like yeah. The attachment is a stabilizer, and I also have a stabilizer on my compound bow. See, when you fire a compound bow, you're supposed to sort of twist your wrist forward, kind of like this. So in archery, the use of a stabilizer is basically to keep the momentum of your bow, and then by extension the arrow that you're releasing, moving forward. Now, if you saw on my bow, I also have a little piece of rope that just goes right over the top of my wrist. And what that does is it compensates for when I'm releasing the bow. You saw how the bow it almost looks like I'm going to drop the bow. The rope there helps me actually not drop the bow, but it allows me to keep that follow through moving forward. So, yeah, I hope you guys learned a little bit about proper archery technique today. So one of the last things I thought was an interesting move by DICE is making the range of the bow 15 meters. So I don't really know things in meters very well, but I know that there's 1 meter in a yard, and there are 3 feet in a yard. So basically I know that there are about 45 or so feet that this bow has in terms of range. And I know that when I go to archery ranges, 45 feet is, it's basically pretty medium distance. I think like a lot of professional archers and stuff like to practice maybe like 75 feet or so. Whereas like when I shoot, I usually can shoot about between 25 and 40 or so feet. So it's actually pretty accurate, I think, and I'm interested to see how the actual bullet drop, or I guess arrow drop, of these arrow bolts is going to look in the game. I'm hoping the dice doesn't go overboard and make this like sniping, where you're basically shooting like a softball out of the muzzle of your gun, or in this case the arrow. So I'm hoping it doesn't make it have a super big trajectory in terms of the y-axis. Getting really technical here, but I am hopeful that DICE is going to make this a fun weapon to use, because we all know that crossbow in Battlefield 3 was just so much fun, so much fun. So this bow is actually going to look pretty cool, I think. I think they're going to put some cool animations. I can't wait to see what the model of the bow with the mesh and and the animations especially look like. Something I haven't seen people touch on, maybe that's just because you know, most people aren't really archers, is the fact that we haven't seen what the draw rate will be. You know, that you have to draw a bow back, and I'm wondering if this is going to be kind of like in Crisis, where it's just like a quick second, which is completely unrealistic, but really cool. I wonder if they're going to make it realistic, where it takes, you know, maybe 1 to 2 seconds to draw it back to a full bow length draw, and see what happens. But I'm sure that we will find out soon enough, as Final Stand comes out in almost 2 days now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave me a like, subscribe, all that yummy stuff, and I will see you in the next video.